So ladies and gentlemen, 6G research is on. 6G research is on. And it's truly a pleasure to share with you all Hexa-X, the European 6G flagship. And I just heard Kim say we operate beyond borders, and that, I think, is exactly the right attitude and spirit. Right? This is about defining the next generation of networks. So we want to be bold, we want to be beyond the borders in terms of thinking, and truly asking and starting to ask relevant questions. How can we create value for society, the folks we serve, and make sure that we truly start by analyzing the high-level context, before then, kind of in a complementary fashion, look at all the technology enablers that can make us deliver on some of these scenarios of value. So as said, I'll be delighted to give you a short glimpse as to what Hexa-X is about, the European Union flagship project. And one more thing, in case you're not aware, it's cool because we have had the pleasure to start early, right? So this flagship has been up and running ever since January. So we have made good progress. Ever since January, up and running, and good progress. In case you haven't checked it out yet, there's a website, you can look at the deliverables. But let's get started with what really matters to set the stage. It's about a vision. It's about a high level of ambition. Now, some people say it's about challenge. You know, I believe it's all about opportunity. We at Nokia believe it's opportunity. We at Hexa-X believe it's about opportunity. But of course, there's challenges. And the vision, as we have developed jointly out of Hexa-X, is one of connecting the worlds. It's connecting the worlds, the digital world, the physical world, and the human biological world, right? And I think that's one way to start the discussion. And then, of course, associate with that opportunity to help tackle the key challenges as we face in terms of sustainability, in terms of trustworthiness, in terms of sustainability, by the way, in several dimensions. Maybe just briefly on sustainability alone, we could discuss this. I know we only have 10 minutes here, but we could discuss this for the full day. You could broadly cluster into economic sustainability, societal, environmental, but clearly sustainability is one of the key themes that also at Hexa-X we identified as iconically driving what we need to do, right? Looking at the challenges we do have in Germany and on the planet, in Europe, worldwide. And then, of course, we have identified, as you can see on the chart, like areas of challenge. And these then allow us kind of clustering technology enabling work accordingly, right? And the areas of challenge beyond sustainability clearly are digital inclusion, another big one, right? How do we connect the unconnected? And there's some, according to rumors, some people not fully connected, even in rural Bavaria, from what I've heard. So it's a real opportunity for us. But of course, the true digital inclusion challenges in economies that are developing. There is the aspect of trustworthiness. And just in the previous panel, we heard a little bit of reflection on why security matters. And trust is something that really ties into 6G research in a variety of ways. And that's also how we tackle it in the Hexa-X project. So it includes aspects of security, cyber resilience, as well as privacy, right? So all that is included. Then the other interesting challenges clearly are big pockets, network of networks, millions of subnetworks, right? We see, and by the way, to repeat what some folks already have said, it's important. We have 8 more years to go with 5G, but with 6G, truly specialized subnetworks will become very, very powerful and very pervasive in many ways. So that means network of network kind of an opportunity as a challenge. How do we orchestrate these? How do we leverage these, manage them? Connected intelligence, tying into technology theme of AI and artificial learning. And then there are the interesting themes that really tie as research areas into radio access. So when you look at these research challenge areas of challenge for research, they all tie into broad themes of technology research. What are they? Just very broadly speaking, if we cluster them into work packages in a more granular fashion, but at a high level, it's about radio access, of course. Right? We have cool ideas to make radio not just more performing, but also more efficient in a variety of ways, new numerology, new waveforms, modulation, coding, channel model, the full opportunity for us to rethink what is it that we need so as to tackle the big challenges. Connected intelligence, AI/ML, is another key component. And last but not least, it's all about architecture, disaggregation. right? And dynamic dependability for the industry context. So with this, let's talk collaboration, let's talk consortium. This is what the HexaX consortium looks like, up and running. And maybe the one thing we need to emphasize is that Bavaria, Germany are an active contributing part of this. We in Europe have a unique environment to drive innovation and to do research in a collaborative, pre-competitive fashion, right? And this is a competitive advantage, I would argue, compared to some of the economies that we also compete with. So 5G PPP has served us well. I think, Colin, you'll talk more about this in just a moment. It's a wonderful vehicle of differentiation and performance. Differentiating performance, opening up opportunity. Let's talk HexaX consortium briefly. You probably have seen and looked at the logos as to who is involved, and glad to say many of the stakeholders are in this room today, not surprisingly. So Bavaria, Germany, institutions out of the heart of Europe, we are a key part of this initiative. When you look at the overall setup, 25 partners and with diverse background, right? Vendors, operators, academia, SME. And I think the beauty of it is looking at our friends from competing company, we have this spirit of jointly now making sure we collaborate in this stage of research. Why is that so important? It's important because we want to make sure we jointly look at the best possible ideas to then ultimately translate into a standard. And that's important, it's key. And that's why I'm personally so excited to be part of HexaX, and I'm excited that our company has a lead role with HexaX, and this will take us a long way. And by the way, in the evidence of doubt, keep in mind when we say this translates into product, there is this element from research to product that we call standardization, right? Making sure we jointly agree on what the best concepts are and disseminating them in a fair, reasonable, open, transparent manner. 3GPP, Third Generation Partnership Project, has served us well and will continue to serve us well. So with this, let's look at value and performance. And there's a variety of dimensions, a variety of ways to cut and slice this. Before we maybe have a short look at use cases, let's be clear, like there's two key drivers, you could argue, in the context of both value indicators as well as performance indicators. It's kind of society opportunity to serve society, use case driven, scenarios of use case at this time, and then kind of from the bottom, if you like, technology push, elements of technology differentiation. Research that we are actively engaged with and that we are actively driving. So starting with the value part, I think I already highlighted pieces of this, and it's important that we are clear about this. Yes, trustworthiness, inclusiveness, aspects of sustainability. And here's one more key thing. Again, it sounds obvious, but it's important, especially here in Bavaria and in Germany, that we are aware of that, and in Europe, and also worldwide. What we do at the heart of 6G research will unlock opportunity and optimization, not just for the communication sector, right? This is about truly enabling all these other sectors. And that's true when you look at aspects of energy efficiency. It's true when you look at aspects of enabling distributed networks with optimized performance, what have you. So that's also something to keep in mind. That's why we said value-wise, it's about sustainability, sustainable 6G, as well as 6G for sustainability. So enabling others, serving others, working with other sectors. And that's also at the heart of how we have approached this so far and continue to approach it in HexaX. On the performance side, now we have a whole range of possible requirements, and we come to use cases in just a moment. Requirements that are driven by use cases that maybe need some new approaches, system-wise, all the way to the air interface, that 5G won't fully be able to deliver, right? That's the scenario. And when you look at some of these requirements, what are they? I mean, yeah, data rate. Probably that's the one performance requirement that gets a lot of public attention all the time, right? Everybody says, yeah, I need more bandwidth because, if we come to use case, I want to do immersive reality. True. But there's more than just bandwidth. Now, bandwidth, by the way, just to dwell on this, of course, links into key work of research utilizing new spectrum bands, but also working with the existing bands in a more effective way, right? These two dimensions are there. Very important to be aware of that. So there's a lot of discussion now on, yeah, how can we go beyond 100 gigahertz? And that's part of research as we do at HexaX, and rightfully so. But then there's other aspects that probably are as important, right? Aspects such as connection density, right? How can we cover up indoor scenarios or high urban density scenarios like downtown New York or Marienplatz at rush hour? It's real, right? And how do we do this then in conjunction with KPIs such as affordability, network energy efficiency, and one more, societal acceptance is another one. By the way, I should have mentioned that. I actually live here. I have the privilege to also live in the Munich area, but I can tell you, and most of you are aware, right? We have folks who are skeptical, who probably, we have a challenge at HexaX as an instrument to also help us do that. We have a dedicated work package on dissemination, reaching out, educating the people we try to serve ultimately. And yes, we also need to mention industrial context in terms of KPIs, dependability, safety, process efficiency, just to also mention this briefly. So from KPI now, as promised, a quick look at the use cases. And use cases really are what drives the value, what motivates us all, why it's about transforming the way we live and interact. It's the way we interact as humans. And by the way, also in HexaX, we have a strong element of human centricity. It's about elements of trust. It's also about, when you look around the families of use cases, maybe starting with the way we interact. Obvious example now, first of all, it's great to do this face-to-face. But you know what? Even once the pandemic is over, and let's hope it'll be the case very soon, maybe it's good to work on ways so that we would be able to interact more like real-world type of interaction, holographic, immersive, beyond just video screen, right? And if you go that path of thinking and scenario, you end up in some sort of extended reality, holographic, immersive scenario where you will need capabilities that go beyond what 5G possibly can do. So, and then of course, translating this into industrial context, the whole range of scenarios for mixed reality co-design, collaborating robots, right? The other day, by the way, someone asked me, talking about performance again, why would you need less than 1 millisecond? And it's a good question if you ask this from a human perspective, right? If I go like this, right, I'm close to falling over, what is the reaction time in the human system? And it's not just me, probably, maybe somebody's a little bit faster since I'm an old guy, but 20 millisecond range, right? So 10 to 20 millisecond. But if you have two robots collaborating, sub 1 millisecond even in very localized context might make sense, right? For process optimization, just to illustrate to you why even extreme performance attributes in conjunction with use cases such as collaborating robots, cobots, make sense. And of course, artificial intelligence, KI, künstliche Intelligenz, is a pervasive theme here, and probably this should be highlighted, applicable to many use cases, and all the way down to the air interface. So that's also maybe to be highlighted. Why? Because it's a technology theme that also in HexaX has a prominent role. Right? And just to illustrate this to you, since some of you obviously are experts, when you look at 5G, we already do employ machine learning for the air interface, right? But now our vision, actually, is already a little bit more than a vision. We go like, yeah, instead of just optimizing components, right, like beamforming or scheduling, we want to optimize the entire physical layer end to end. And if we achieve that, right, that would allow you to even optimize for variants of chipset, right? Just to illustrate how far this goes down to the technology work we do. So before we wrap up, I think it's a good idea to look at the way forward and come back to timeline. And I think it's really great. We are consistent. When I look at all the previous speakers, I've heard no one say 6 years around the corner next year. No, this is about research. And it's important we take the time to engage, starting from the right questions to be asked, clustering the work packages on the European level, Hexa-X, and there will be, as you can see, there's a continuous journey into SNS, smart networks and services. So Hexa-X is a stepping stone to dive even deeper on this journey towards the final product, towards standardization, right? And now Hexa-X, of course, we have another like close to 2 years to go. So we need to make sure we get real in terms of deliverables. I think so far what we have done is a very good job in terms of structuring and framing and formulating the vision. Again, you can look it up on the web. There's a deliverable called D1.2, HexaX.eu. Check it out. It's good stuff. For all the work packages, you can see as a starting point the gap analysis. And that may be of interest also to all the research-oriented audience. So we have put a lot of effort into where are the gaps? What is it that we need to fix? Where do we need to go beyond what 5G can do? So also that now is for many work packages available, for radio in particular, for instance. And then this will take us into systemization of research project, all the way into standardization and finally, product evolution and making sure we utilize the opportunity in the best possible way and done the European way, collaborating constructively in a pre-competitive fashion and making sure we really deliver and make it happen. So with this, thank you all. Back over to you, Kim.